All right, everybody, we are live. Episode 1 of the community chat show. And Crinetix gave me a great script I'm supposed to read, and I've already screwed that up. I also screwed up everybody's video cameras. Oh no, Crin, where's our
We
beautiful
good?
script?
Oh, here,
Did
hold on.
What a way to start things off. Super scuffed. Welcome to those in chat who are here with us.
Alrighty, I will. I'll start us off here. So, good evening, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. My name is Crinetix.
And I'm Stoic. Welcome to the community chat show. Is that what I was
Your
supposed to
one, yeah, your one-stop shop for all the latest in the CCS community.
say?
Nailed it.
Yeah, that sounds like the intro. Excellent job. Our first guest here is going to be WitsEnd, owner, founder, and team captain of Can't Counterpick Stupid. Wits, we're so grateful for being here. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Nervous. First guest. That's a lot of pressure.
Well, you have done.
Hopefully not last, right? I gotta bring it today.
No worries. You are not the last guest. We'll just announce this now, and then again at the end, our next guest will be Michaelin next week here Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to tune back in. But first, we got to get through Wits. So Wits, let's just start out with just tell us about yourself.
I'm WitsEnd. I play Heroes of the Storm since it came out. Didn't play beta or anything like that, but when it actually went live is kind of where I learned about it and started into it. Play with my brother. My brother is Valcomer. So we've been playing together since then and on a couple of teams and things like that. I'm married. I have 5 kids. I'm old. I'm the grandpa on the Discord, but I don't have grandkids, so I'm not that old. But I am. I've been around and played some games and enjoy it and still love it. So, yeah.
Before we jump
What else do you want to know?
Well, we got a lot of questions lined up, and before I throw it to Corinne to get
Sure.
really into the deep here, hearing more about your HOTS history, I want to know what's the background behind WitsEnd? Of all the screen names you could have chose, WitsEnd. Why is that?
Yeah. I don't even remember what it was before that, to be honest. But I changed it. I had something else when I first started playing, and I don't remember what it was. But I'm a dentist. I didn't tell you that in my other section. So I picked this up probably right out of dental school. Had 4 kids, and life was crazy. And so it literally was a representation of what my life was at the time, and I was at my wit's end. And that's really where it came from. And I just was like, oh yeah, this is perfect because this is a description of me. So yeah, that's kind of where it came from. I have never changed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a lot more backstory than a lot of other people's names. So definitely, that's great. So you mentioned before that you've been playing HOTS kind of since the beginning. What was it that kind of got you into HOTS originally? Was it something where like you saw the teaser trailer from Blizzard and you're just like, I'm going on this immediately, or like did someone else pull you in? Like how did that kind of get rolling?
I'm not really sure. I want to say probably it's Valk's fault is my guess, because I didn't do much as far as gaming and stuff while in dental school. I didn't have time for that really anyway, so I didn't do a whole lot then. After getting out of school, probably talking to him, and he probably played some World of Warcraft and had seen it. I had a friend where I was living that was playing League of Legends and was talking about that and how great it was and yada, yada, yada. I never played it, but I was like, that sounds cool. A team-based game. I hadn't really ever played much of a MOBA before. Actually, that's probably where it started. I think is Valk bought he bought a little MOBA on Steam that he liked, and he probably bought it for me or convinced me to buy it. I can't remember, but we played that a little bit together. That's probably where it started. I can't even tell you what it's called now. but we started there, and then I think the Heroes of the Storm was coming out, and he probably heard about it from BattleNet and whatnot, and we just kind of started from there.
Back before HOTS, like, did you and Val grow up together playing video games? Like before dental school,
Yeah.
were you guys gaming buddies? Like, what's been your experience like with video games before the MOBAs?
The MOBAs. So I played a lot of online multiplayer, massive multiplayer games. I didn't really do much of World of Warcraft just because of timing when it came out. I was doing other things. I was serving a mission for my church and things like that, so I didn't have that time anymore. But previous to that, probably the 2 years before that, 2000, oh man, even before that, but we played a game called Dark Age of Camelot. It came out in 2001. It's still around. Don't play it anymore, but yeah, we started with Dark Age. Well, no, we started before that, but that was where we played a lot together. We had a room in our house where we had 2 desks. At one point, I think they were back to back, and one point they were side by side, but we had these 2 desks, and we'd sit there and we'd play that game and do raids and things like that together all the time. Then I took off and was gone for a little bit. Right before I came back, he took off and was gone, so we missed each other for probably about 3 years. By the time he came back, I was in school, and I don't remember if we did much then. I was busy with other things again, but yeah, probably after dental school is where we kind of we picked it up again. But even before that, going way back, we used to play Ultima Online. I don't know if anyone has ever seen that or played that, but we played Ultima Online. That was probably our first computer game that we played together.
Nice. Wow. Yeah. And of any of like the games that you've played previously, did you guys ever play any of them as competitively as you play Heroes of the Storm?
I'm not sure I would call us competitive in Heroes of the Storm, but no, I don't know that there really was a scene like this with that. I mean, esports is, I don't know that I'd say relatively new, but in 2001, like, there wasn't esports then. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't exist. So
yeah,
it was, the competition then was, getting a group together or a guild together and going and attacking some castle on this game or that game, on Dark Age of Camelot. So that's what we did then. I suppose we got into it then, but as far as competitive, no, probably not till this. And I think that's one thing that really kind of drew me into this game quite a bit, is that competitive aspect and being able to compete and participate with a team and be a part of a team.
So Val gets you into this MOBA. I'm guessing it's called the Demigod because that's what he said in chat.
Yes, it is. That's the one.
So Val gets you into this game Demigod, and then from there you graduate to the superior MOBA in Heroes of the Storm. And what flips that switch though? Where do you go from saying like, oh, we're trying to win, we've got the guilds, whatever? Like, what turns it from we're playing to we're going to start a team?
I mean, it kind of felt natural, right? Like, this game is built for competitive play. Like, it really is. It's built to be played as a team and play competitively. And so it kind of just naturally, we ran into people, we met people. And by the time we had a group big enough that there were, 5 of us playing fairly regularly, we started looking for things that we could join. And I think the very first, maybe Valk would know better about this, but I think the first thing we ever did was HGC Open Division. I think we did some chair league, and that was early on too, but I think that the Open Division was first. Like, our very first thing, we threw a team together. It wasn't called Can't Counterpick Stupid. It was called Less Than 3. And it lasted 1 cup, I think. And we got demolished. Our team changed a little bit. We renamed it. We rebranded. And we played a couple more cups as Can't Counterpick Stupid before we realized that we were far, far outmatched and looked for something that wasn't. wasn't quite as aggressive. But I mean, on that end, I mean, there were teams in that, like Heroes Hearth was in those tournaments that we played in before they made HGC. And I want to say there was a couple more that went up through the Crucible and into HGC that I don't know that we ever played them, but that were in those same tournaments that we jumped in, just giving it a shot. So
yeah, for sure. So you've got your team, right? You've got Counter Big Stupid. At what point does it kind of go from being a team? Like, kind of walk us through that transition of being like a team into like an org, right?
Sure. I think depending on who you talk to, we never really made any transition like that. We're still a team. We just got bigger, right? So I don't know that we 100% consider ourselves an org as much as we consider ourselves a team that has 40 people on it. You know what I mean? We got 8 teams. So I think that's kind of more how we view it. But as far as how did that go, I think really ultimately it was we got in these other little tournaments. We got in Chair League, we got in NGS, we got in Heroes Lounge, and we found that we were improving, but that it was hard to really compete with the best ones in the division because they were practicing more or something, right? So just in naturally trying to find somebody to kind of scrim against and practice against, it just kind of developed into creating another team, and it's just kind of exploded from there. Really, I mean, you can only fit so many people on one roster, right? So having so many people that we meet along the way and fill in for us and enjoy playing with, people just keep adding on and adding on and adding on, and the natural thing was to just add a couple more teams so that we had room for people.
How did you find these, like you and Val, like I got the story there, like you're from the same family, but the rest of these, the 5 that end up on the match or the 15 that Valk is pushing for to be on roster, where do you find all these other, like where have you found, the CCS1 folk to then overflow?
A couple ways. So our nephew played with us for a little while too. Our original team, it was me and Valk and my nephew, RTB. He has stepped away a little bit, so we don't see him too much anymore. But it was the 3 of us, and then we just ran into people. We ran into Osprey and Thorin, and played with them a little bit. Valk, I'm pretty sure, is the one who met them first and kind of was like, oh, we can get these guys to come play with us. And they were just on his friends list and pulled them over. And so we'd have 5 and we just started playing. Silma, we played with Silma. I want to say we ran into a friend of Silma's, and his name we recognized from a church thing, and like the character name. And so we were like, hey, are you part of this church? And I think it was, and we kind of linked up that way through him, and Silma was one of his friends. So we met up with them. We played with them a while. This friend doesn't play often anymore, but Silma just kind of stuck in there too. Celadorn, he was part of our nephew worked or played for the Utah State University Heroes of the Dorm team for a little while. He coached and he played there. And Celadorn, we met through him up there. So he knew him up at Utah State. I'm not sure if they were going to school together. I want to say Celadorn was finished, but somehow they knew each other up there. And a lot of people we met through that. A lot of those people, some of those people are still around. Matathee's one of those also that's on CCS1. And then some of the CCS2 guys, I mean, there were some others that kind of came and went, right? Some others that we met along the way and have been part of the team and moved on. And CCS2, I think, was the first one that started kind of as we need a scrim partner. And we found some people that, were interested in making a team and just kind of put it together. That expanded really fast into 3 and 4. One of those, I want to say 3 played a season or so and then lost a few people, and now's back. Things like that have kind of, people jump in and people come and they go, and just meeting people online. I honestly am not sure how it kind of just exploded, but just posting our Discord and finding people and playing with them and inviting them to group and adding them to the Discord, and people just learning about us and coming in and playing with us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's been fascinating to watch. So now you kind of talk through coming together as CCS1, kind of finding your stride, playing together, and now the CCS. You said you don't really think of it as an organization, but like the group, the family, I guess, in a way, of CCS has grown and exploded into this big thing. And at the top of it, it's you're the owner and founder of this big thing. Like, what do you like? How does it, I guess, feel to kind of know that you have this giant community that like you've kind of contributed towards building? Like, are you kind of satisfied with the growth and the direction it's going? Do you have other plans for it? Like, what are your overall thoughts on
good question.
CCS?
Yeah, good question. I think I again, kind of depending on who you ask in that original group, there's probably different ideas and as far as direction. Most of us in CCS1 are older, have families, have other things going on. This isn't we don't really aspire to be professional, gamers. Maybe we'd still like that, but we don't really plan on doing that, right? But I think for me, especially for me, watching this grow and watching it kind of explode over the last little bit has been really kind of encouraging and kind of like, man, what could we do with this? Like, what can we do? And maybe we're not going to go and play professional, but maybe there are other people that we can help support, that we can help to get into competitive Heroes of the Storm and grow this community. So, as far as what's next and what do we do from here? I mean, I think you're seeing what our plans are really, and we're doing developmental days that we help to try and get people interested and get people going and kind of replenish the ranks, right? Bring people up that are starting into the game, get people that maybe would have fallen away from the game because they just don't know what's going on and they get flamed in game, nonstop in quick match or unranked or even ranked. But finding a way to help people to grow, to become better, and to appreciate and love the game as much as we do. We tried with CCL coming out here in the last year, we made a bid. We tried applying for an org position with CCL. We obviously didn't get it, but it was a fun process to really think about, like, what are we? What do we stand for? What's our vision? And I think that process really helped us develop some of these developmental days, more open houses. A lot of that stuff has kind of come up even more, almost like we threw gas on it a little bit when this all started happening, because we started thinking about, like, what is it we really stand for? And it's been fun.
Well, so I want to dive in here because you've played in open division, and man, there's like so many ways I want to go here, but I guess, like, what was that shift? Like, obviously, like, CCL, like, I've talked to you a lot, Wits, like, CCL means so much to you, and I recognize that. Like, when did you realize, like a year ago, would you have tried to get in? If CCL happened a year ago, would you have tried then? Like, what was the fuel that made, like, CCL this thing that you just said, like, I want to do this. Like, I want to get CCS on the docket.
Oh, man. I think if it would have been a long time ago, I would have, well, I probably wouldn't have been in a position before, or felt like I was in a position. At least when this happened, it felt like we had some things going. Our community was growing. I'm not sure how big it is now in our Discord, but it's grown over the last year, especially quite a bit. And I probably would have, but I probably wouldn't have tried, because I don't know that I would have felt like we had the chance to do it. But yeah, I think ultimately, deep down, like to own a esports organization and be involved in that, to help, kind of just echoing what I already said, and creating these dreams for somebody else. You know, maybe we're not going to live that, but to be able to live kind of watching them grow and helping to grow their careers, I think is something that's really exciting, because I don't think esports is going away. It's growing, right? It's taken off. I think esports, I don't have numbers. I wish I would have prepared for that, because I had them in the past, but I don't remember. But I want to say it makes more money than the NFL and the NBA and all of the professional sports leagues, maybe combined. It's a huge business. And not that I was like, oh man, I really want to make money off of this, but it just was really exciting to think about something that I grew up loving and playing video games and loving games, and to be able to think of that as like a career. Not that I was going to change mine, but again, to be in a position where maybe financially I could help support that I could help a startup and grow a little company was something that was really exciting to me. That might be different for the rest of the veteran CCS1 guys that were involved in that, kind of the board. They were very supportive, but I think ultimately a lot of it was kind of my fire and my dream on that.
Yeah, so this seems like something you've put an unimaginable amount of thought into. Maybe like, I don't know if this is necessarily something you can't answer, but like, maybe just for fun, like walk us through what that would look like if you were to, like, say CCL was like, yeah, you have an org slot. Like, what would that kind of process look like for building a team to go pro?
You know, from what I can't even say. You know, I don't even know. That's the hardest part. I mean, I think I have a pretty decent grasp of how business works. I've done a couple of startups on my own. So that part really wouldn't have been hard or confusing to me. That would have been easy. It was more like these are human beings, and, you know, athletes, and most of them young. So trying to figure out how to work with them, how to help them, how to support them. That would have been the part that was a little bit new for us. But I think overall, we have a pretty good grasp of it. You know, with the teams that we have, and just letting people be themselves, letting people learn and grow, and just putting them in a good position. We certainly would have had to find somebody that could help coach and help with that. None of us are super high rank or ever ex HGC pros or anything. We were O2'd in the open division is what we were every season. So it would have been, on our end, it would have been much more of a supportive type of thing, and finding and getting the things that they need to put them in a position to be successful. And I don't think that's really that different than managing or owning any other business, really, is just kind of putting your people in a position to succeed.
So with Sidestep Kings dropping out of CCL for season 2, like, is CCS going to try again to get an org slot? And what's changed? Like, if you are planning on applying to try and, you know, snatch up that 8th slot, what's going to be different this time applying when you go into an interview with Jules or Workhorse or whoever?
Yeah, it was both of them last time that I interviewed with, and that was good. They're great people. It was a lot of fun to talk with them, and they had some awesome ideas. It was really fun to kind of see and now see it happen. Like what they were talking about then is, we haven't really said this, but we're thinking about doing this. And then, a week later, they add, oh, hey, we're going to pay the 6th player. And, then, oh, hey, we're adding academy teams. Like all those things they already were planning, they already were thinking about. So that was kind of encouraging that they were already thinking about beyond, even though they were saying, externally to everyone else, oh, hey, we don't really know. We just have a license for one. They were ready and they were planning and they're expecting it to be awesome. And I think it has been. As far as on our end, what has changed? I think our base has grown quite a bit. I want to say when we started this, we were probably 3 or 4 teams. Now we've doubled, right? We have these open houses that happen. The one that happened this week, Stoic, you were there, kind of doing the ringmaster thing. It was, 30 people, three lobbies, right, of custom games in the one that you did. And then after that, there was another 30 plus again in the couple hours in the second round of it. So, it's growing. The developmental days has been really huge. I think that's a place. I don't want to sound critical of CCL because I'm not. I don't intend it to be that way. But one place that maybe they've missed is just really engaging in the fan base a little bit more. That they could do. That they could use those players to not. I hate to say use. I don't mean use, but because it helps them as well. But to get them involved with groups like this and going and being in the community to help grow their fan base. And I think that we have kind of a little bit of a platform to help with that. And hopefully we'll do some things here coming up in the next little bit that maybe will help that a little bit more. As far as our interest goes, I'd say I have a little less fire behind it this time. I want to say, let's say it this way. It hurt real bad the first time, and so I'm tempering my expectations the second. How does that sound? The first time there were 8 slots. There were 8 slots, and we didn't get one. So to try and go after one when they've been successful, and I'd anticipate there's going to be a bunch of orgs that have been around that are coming in and throwing their hat in. If they even open it up, they haven't really announced what they're going to do there. So I think if there's a chance, yeah, I think we'll try again. I'll make them talk to me again. But I think I have realistic expectations as to it's been super successful, and that's awesome for them, and I'm super happy. Would I want to be a part of it? Oh yeah. Do I want to be the org that's the grassroots that has the connection with the bronze, silvers, and golds, that is engaging those people? Heck yeah. But is that going to happen? Is that likely to happen? I don't know. I think they showed a little bit of their preference in the first round with, some high profile streamers, previous organizations, big groups that do tournaments and things like that. We do some of that stuff too, but I don't know that we're as well known as, say, a Chili Mountain or some of those other groups.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So you've kind of given us a kind of breakdown of the start to finish of the journey of the up and coming of CCS. But like, what are some maybe challenges would be a way to put it that like maybe have kind of gone unnoticed? Some struggles that you've kind of some bumps in the road along the way of the journey of CCS.
I think probably some of the hardest things is just people come and go. Life happens, and you can't get away from that, right? So players on our team will come and go, and players on some of the others will come and go. I actually was just looking at the roster from the HGC Open that we played, and everybody on our roster up from CCS1 now was on that roster in 2017 on that HGC Open division. There's one person, our nephew was on that, but he's not on there. But everybody else that's on that is still actively playing. So it's been fun to have that, just continually being there. I think there is some frustration within even our team with getting kind of stale and stagnant and not progressing. And I mean, I think we've been in Div C for NGS for I don't know how many seasons. Every season I think we've played in NGS, and sometimes that can be frustrating because we want to see growth and we want to see improvement. But life happens and people have schedules and people have things that are going on, and that makes it tricky. And same thing with some of these other teams that have come. Same thing happens with them. People have other things that come up, or they join other teams and play on other teams or elsewhere, and teams fall apart. But overall, I mean, we never really set out to build a giant empire or anything like that. It always was just, hey, we want to play this game, and if they're closing the game, we need to create a way that we have people to play with, and so we started recruiting.
I'm thinking about mentioning your nephew there,
Sure.
and then calling back to you at the beginning, saying you have 5 kids. Like, what's HOTS like for your family? Like, do your kids watch your games? Do they watch CCL?
Ooh.
Like, did you watch HGC? Like, what's that whole experience like? Having uncle, nephew. So there's definitely like the family there, but like in the nucleus, like in the home, what's HOTS like?
In my home it's not well received in my house. My kids don't watch it. My daughter is sitting over there shaking her head at me. And some of them would love to, but I'd even say for me sometimes it can be a distraction, and it can be too much too. And I can get to where I'm up playing this all night long and then off to work the next day, and just it can get to where it's unhealthy. And I think that my wife certainly feels that way, no matter if it's I play one game or I'm playing for hours. But and so there is a certain degree of conflict and things there too. But overall, in respecting my wife's wishes, I don't really let them play it or watch it. I mostly play after they go to bed. That actually is one thing for our team that maybe is a little difficult, because their bedtime gets later as they're getting older, and so it ends up being so late that we're trying to schedule matches with other teams that it can become difficult. And I'll show up late or I'll miss things because of just family obligations.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. As far as you mentioned before that, like, you'd kind of, it was clear the direction the organization was going, or the group CCS. Have you ever thought about like branching out into other games or communities? Like, do you ever see a CCS League of Legends team, or like a CCS Call of Duty team?
Probably not for me. Yeah, and the only reason I say that, I don't really have much interest beyond Heroes. Heroes has really kind of become the only game that I play. If I weren't playing it, I don't know that I would be like, oh, let's go pick up League. I think kind of going back to my family situation and whatnot, I don't know that I would. I think I would probably be, I'm content here. I enjoy this. I love this community. And I don't know that I'd go and try and build something somewhere else. If there's other people within the community that wanted to do that and wanted some support there, I'd certainly be willing to help or do this or do that. But as far as me getting involved in another game, that probably isn't going to happen.
Do you like putting on the rose-colored glasses here? Do you see that
Sure.
happening? Like how long does CCS last? Like, is CCS something that just becomes, like, continues to grow at the pace it's been? Because the growth has been crazy. I was on that original season of CCS 3, and like looking back at where CCS was then and where it is now is crazy. And we got people like Cavalier Guest saying, like, looking for games of Storm League, or like Lupus is talking about like in a development day, or like Breakwood just comes out to hang out. Like, it's absurd to me. Like, does CCS keep growing? And at that point, like, do other games naturally just have to come into the ecosystem, or where do you, like, I don't know. I don't even know the question here, but like, what are your thoughts on that growth, and where does it go from here?
I'm not really sure. I think it certainly could. It certainly could. And it really just kind of depends on the needs of the community. And I think that's kind of how this developed anyway. And, it kind of, you find a need and you fill the need, right? So yeah, I mean, it could, it's possible, maybe there is something that somebody branches out into and they're like, hey, I love how this community runs this. Can we branch out into this? I mean, there certainly would be some interest in helping our community members and doing whatever they want to in that regard. But yeah, as far as me, I probably wouldn't be involved in those things. But yeah, I certainly could see that happening. One thing that's been amazing that I've seen here is even just today, I sent out an announcement looking for help, and I had like 3 or 4 members of the community just like immediately like, hey, I can do this, or hey, I can help with that, and it's crazy. And I want to shout them out, but I also want to keep those things kind of on the secret end for right now while we're building stuff. But having the just amazing support of this community, I think could go that way too. If somebody were to want to do that, people would step up and help. And I think, yeah, it certainly could. I wouldn't say it's not possible, but I think as far as where we're at right now, we're very focused on Heroes of the Storm and increasing and improving that Heroes community.
CCS definitely has something special. What's that secret sauce though? That has this been an intentional effort to develop a community whereby people just like say, oh, I want to help out? Like, what's the secret to CCS being such a wholesome, inviting, helpful place?
Yeah, I think that the real answer to that is just the people. When you are genuine, when you care, when you try and help, when you're not flaming people, those people stick around. The ones that do that or that do those things don't really stick around. So, I think that being inviting and just helping, I think people appreciate that they got helped, or that, hey, I found something and these people are kind and these people are nice, and I can find games here to play with people that enjoy the game. I think really resonates with people. Like, it's way more fun to play this game with your friends than it is to play this game queuing up in solo for ranked and getting flamed.
Very true, very true. So I'm gonna toss you one of the questions that we got submitted here from our beautiful audience.
Okay.
So this question comes from Hot Like Summer earlier. So Wits is the owner / founder of CCS, yet keeps a pretty low profile. Is this intentional?
Absolutely, it's intentional. And I don't know. I thought of this because you posted the thing saying, hey, our first guest is owner and founder. And I thought, am I really? I mean, I opened the Discord, but it's always been a team. It's always been multiple people. It's never been me. I think that there's been times where early on I was watching HGC and bringing stuff back to the team. And hey, what if we did this? And hey, what if we did that? And I acted more as a captain back then. Real life things got in the way, and and Valk was kind of the assistant captain and just kind of more or less took over the things that I wasn't able to get done. And he's always been a lot more of what's the right way to put it? I don't know. He's not afraid, right? One thing you can say about Valk is he's not afraid. He's not going to be afraid that he's going to hurt somebody's feelings or that he's going to step on somebody's toes. Not that he intentionally does those things, but he's very comfortable in who he is. He's very comfortable in what he's doing, and I think that that works really well in that front line. He can really be that face and really be that kind of loud leader. And in a lot of ways, that's kind of how it's been. And I am much more of a look at systems, analyze, check things out, figure out what we can do better. That's always kind of how my brain works. Looking at those things and working kind of from the back end. And I don't necessarily want or need to be visible. Not saying that Valk does that either, but I'd say he's probably more comfortable being up there in the front, where I'd rather sit from behind and heal. Right?
Yeah, you and Valk like do make this good team. With both of you have this similar passion. And Valk definitely he's if he's the mouth and you're the brain, like you guys work very well in tandem. Not that Valk doesn't have brains, but like, is this a pattern that has happened like throughout your life as brothers? Like, have you always like worked together and fit this well? Is this thing you've just developed through HOTS, or did you know this from before?
I don't know. That's a really good question. That's something I haven't thought a ton about. I mean, we definitely were, we were siblings, and like kids are, we fought and had disagreements and things like that. He probably hated me for a while, but he was bigger than me pretty much always, so I had to be careful. I had to be the brains because he was the brawn. So, but yeah, I mean, I think maybe that some of those other games that we played together, that might have been kind of a start of where we worked together. And, we started a guild together in Dark Age of Camelot, and he ended up taking that over as I took off and things like that. So I think it maybe started then, and it's certainly kind of grown more with Heroes for sure. And it's been a lot of fun. And I don't know if he'd say the same thing. If he wasn't playing, I wouldn't have probably got into it in the first place. And I don't know if he would say that or not, but, and I think there's probably times along the way that both of us, we would have left if the other one wasn't there. But because we were doing it together, we kind of stuck it out and kept things going, and I think it's been a lot of fun.
In my mind, one of the touching things about CCS is that, I think that so many people have made connections similar to what you're describing with Valcomer here. That, you guys sure are actual literal blood brothers who have experiences outside of this game, but I've seen, at least from my perspective, as an insider and outsider of CCS, that people have made those kinds of connections where, if it wasn't for X, Y, or Z person, or wasn't for this team, I would stop playing this game. And that's such a beautiful thing that, is so amazing. Corinne, I think I cut you off on your question, but I wanted to say that, that what you have with Valk, you've been able to so powerfully create the space for it to happen with so many other people in CCS, which is just so beautiful.
Oh, and I think a lot of that comes from Valk and me, as far as and our other teammates. All of our teammates, we've been with them for so long now, and even people new that are coming in, and we've just known for the last few seasons. it's almost like we do anything for these people, and we met them on a video game and have never met them in real life, but it really kind of comes down to that. It kind of has become a little bit of a family here within CCS, and I think it is. I mean, it comes down to just those genuine, caring people, and wanting to have a good time and creating a comfortable and safe space for people to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's interesting, right? Because as a team, you win together, you lose together, and it's everything is together, right? There's kind of a bond that you get by playing regularly, even though it is just pixels on a screen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, for sure. And I think maybe that brother bond is something too. I mean, I actually, maybe funny story. I don't know if it's that funny, but I know we had one game where we just, somebody was a friend of somebody, or they had played with them and liked them before. They brought them in. Speaking of the community and people who don't stick around, but we had somebody that in this match, it wasn't going very well. And I was healing, and this player who came in decided, well, originally he chose my healer for me in this match, and then he proceeded to flame me for not healing him through this match. And we got into it a little bit, and at the end, and I got a little heated in there too, and I eventually backed off. But at the end of it, Valk kicked him out of the Discord and kicked him out of everything. And I own the Discord. I could have done that, and I probably wouldn't have. I wasn't happy about it, but I think it's that brotherly. He's like, I'm not gonna put up with this. Like, you're picking on, and yeah, I was his brother, but at the same time, like, you're picking on my healer, you're picking on my teammate, and we aren't doing that here. So there is no warning. There is nothing else. Like, it's done. Goodbye. Have a good day. And that was it. But I think that kind of really represents a lot of this community too. It's not just the brother thing, but it really is like, you're not going to come in here and bash on our teammates. We're going to take care of each other.
That makes me think of like some of the moderation rules in the server. Like, for example, the new censor bot, which is great. Like, it totally matches. How do I want to ask this? Like, Valcomer is, of course, like, often talking about, is like, oh, I want to make sure that if, little Valk is nearby, he's not going to see anything on the screen. Like, is the censor something that, like, is the PG server something that you had from the beginning as an idea? Is it something evolved to keep the server, away from the anarchy of the rest of the internet? Like, how does, I guess, like, as owner and founder and all these things that maybe you still totally feel and don't, like, where does the community moderation come in?
I think a lot of that really started with Valk. Originally, Valk was the original censor bot. So if somebody posted something, he would kindly send them a message saying, hey, I bet there's another way that you could say that without using that word. And I don't know if anybody's been on the receiving end of that. I know I have been on the receiving end of that a few times, where he's like, hey, maybe you could not say this. And there certainly were times when I was a little bit like, come on, like, really, like, you're going to harass me about this. But between Valcomer, Osprey, and Aressa, between the three of them really taking this and growing the censor bot, you see it a lot now, but I think it really says something about what we want here. And we want it to be, we want people to have fun and to be themselves, but can you not do that without saying some of those things? In some ways, it's kind of a little bit of against gamer culture, right? CCL is a perfect example. If you watch some of their interviews, there's things there that I wouldn't want my kids watching or seeing. Like, I would never want them to watch that, because I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So that becomes kind of a difficult thing on that end. But we know in our Discord, I think we've made that fairly clear that those aren't things that we do here, or we don't need to do that.
And do you think that that's kind of like a hint of, I think Stoic asked this earlier, but kind of one of the elements that makes CCS unique is that, this is a game that I know that there are some characters in game that even use strong language from time to time. But like, do you feel like CCS, one of the things that kind of makes it stand out in the community is that like we're one of the few places where it is okay to like, child-friendly PG-13, like it's all good here?
Yeah, and I don't think we're hostile about it either. I think, we'll say something, but we say it in a nice way. And yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely different. I mean, I don't know if there's another Discord server there probably are Discord servers that use this censor bot. I think the censor bot itself says it's used in however many servers or whatever, but I think it is. It's few and far between that have standards like this and that stand up for them and stick to them. And I think that's something that people see and understand and are respectful of. Like, yeah, this is a standard. They told us this is what they want us to do, and they'll stick to it.
And I think there's this community that is something that's so interesting that people voluntarily buy into, that they understand that their behavior will be different while within the confines of CCS than it might be otherwise, which is so fascinating. How do you think that, like, I guess rather than how do you think, what was the inspiration? I'm thinking back to this group of learners, this group of people, and like the development days that you were talking about before, helping people go from bronze and hopefully creating a space where they can, possibly become pro. Like, what's the philosophy, I guess, behind all of the CCS events? Because there are so many and they're amazing, and no other Heroes of the Storm server is doing anything like it. What's the philosophy behind the events?
Well, I mean, let's talk about a few of them, I guess. Right now, Nexomania is going on, right? This is our second season, I think, of Nexomania. And I think it initially came about because just looking for a something to do in the off season, right? Because we had NGS and we weren't playing in Heroes Lounge. We decided we weren't going to participate there anymore, and we dropped out of that. Not to say that other teams can't do that. It's just something that we found we didn't mesh well with their system. So in the meantime, between NGS seasons, we found that there was a big gap, and this gave us something to continue to work on things, almost like a scrim club, I guess. So that's kind of how it started, and I guess more teams want that because there's a lot now. I'm not even sure how many. I looked it up, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. A lot, though. In the 40s, I think, this season.
Yeah.
If Valk's still in the chat, he'll tell you.
Yeah, I think between the two nights, it's definitely close to that.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how that started. The development days, we stumbled across a server that was kind of lower level players. I think the server at the time was named something like Bronze Paradise or something like that. And it was just kind of like a friendly server for low ranks where they aren't going to get flamed kind of thing. And at the time we were like, hey, why not help and put people on teams and grow things. And so we kind of started the development days and the open houses also, just to kind of help to find new people and get the word out that, we can help facilitate and get things going for new teams and get people started. And I think that's kind of where some of those things stemmed. Kind of the original, we need a scrim partner, so let's make another team. The same thing kind of happened. It just was man, there's people that don't know where to, and we've had people previous that would jump into our Discord and be like, hey, are you guys looking for players, or how do we get involved in this? And it just kind of stemmed from that, seeing a need of, I don't know where I'd start if I didn't have this, right? Like, how would I get onto a team? How would I get started in competitive heroes? Well, we wanted to kind of create that step stool for people to get started and take their first steps into finding a team and finding players that they get along with, and then growing and improving.
And it works.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it is, and we're learning as we're going. I mean, I don't know that I have specific growing pains to mention like we talked about before, but there's definitely things as we go through these that we learn, oh shoot, we need to write a rule for this, or oh man, we messed up on this thing, or this could have been better handled. Overall, the community is awesome, and they deal with those things and are okay with it, but there's definitely times and things where stuff like that comes up, and we're learning and growing as we go.
Yeah, for sure. Another question we have from the chat is, wasn't I often, at the end of events, Valkmer or other people will give a quick shout out to Valk's mom. But wasn't Valk's mom technically your mom first?
But yes, she was. She was, and she always will be. But yeah, I think that started, oh man, it may have been our first after match interview, even like from the very beginning of CCS in NGS, and Valk taking an interview and doing the shout out, and then he's done it every time since. And I think somebody on our team has, if he's not doing the interview, they shout out Valk's mom too. So sometimes we'll even get streamers shouting out Valk's mom before they get the chance to. So yeah, no, it's become a thing. I did notice that CCL were shouting out somebody's mom on their things too. Yeah, Funz's mom. So yeah, I guess that's a thing too, but Valk's mom was first. Sorry, Fun's mom.
Valk's mom was first, but she was your mom first.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
The OG mom. You mentioned earlier, we're coming up on time here. We've been talking for an hour, and this has been fantastic. And I'm not looking to end anytime soon, but I recognize with 5 kids and a Monday coming up, we do have to sadly let you go relatively soon. You mentioned before, like, you got some spicy things in the works. Like, for the people who've been here in chat right now, like, is there any, like, can you share any of the secrets? Can you give any of the hints? Like, what exciting things are coming up? You don't have to spoil it all.
Yeah, some things are still in the works, and so I can't really give too much detail. I think, we'll see what happens with the CCL thing. Hopefully we can throw our hands in again, or our hat in the ring again there, and see what happens. But I think what I can say is I know that we have development days coming up. There's one in February. We try and do them. It seems like it's about once a month. I don't know that there's really a set schedule. It just kind of ends up being, hey, it feels like it's time to do one of these again, and Valk throws it together. And maybe that's somewhere where we will start growing, is creating that, hey, this is what our plan is for the next little while, and this is when we're going to do these. But what I can say is we've been trying to see if we can expand what we do on those days. And I know, without getting too detailed, I know that we've reached out to some CCL pro players to see if we could get them in to help coach. And we have one confirmed, but we're still working on the day. It's not going to be that first one here in February just yet, but we're still hopeful that we'll find somebody to kind of do that, and to give us kind of one more little thing that we add to that to make it something for kind of all groups and all levels. And really, I mean, trying to do what we've been saying and tie that pro community to this, grassroots, right to the fans. Try and be that link a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that. We've talked about a few different things as far as, we have Stoic throwing this together and doing the chat show. We've talked about doing some other things, and we'll see if they take some traction. We'll see how this goes. And maybe this is going to be a springboard that creates new things, for the community here. But yeah, that's one thing that I was hoping that I'd be able to tell you about the 20th, but unfortunately that date doesn't work out for who we did get lined up. So we'll see kind of how it goes moving forward, and hopefully we will still find somebody. I know we're still talking with a few people and hopeful that we'll make something happen, but that's something that I'm really excited about. And I think will be really fun. So we'll see how that goes. More details will follow as things kind of fall into place. So we'll see.
That's pretty hype. I'm not gonna lie.
Very hype, yeah.
Corinne, do you have any other questions that we missed from chat?
So another little question here is, if you had to attribute Valkymer's personality, I suppose, to like what animal would you say that Valkymer is most akin to?
What animal? Oh man, that's a good question. The first thing that comes to my mind would be some kind of a bear, but I don't know what bear. Maybe a grizzly. Big, scary dude. Big, scary, hairy dude. That I think is what I'd sum Valk up as.
Very, very protective too.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Snuggly, but also fierce.
Yep, that's him.
Another chat question that we cannot neglect is, what is your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food. For most of my life, I would say spaghetti. Spaghetti is pasta just in general, but spaghetti specifically. But right now, yesterday I had an amazing steak that I'm pretty, steak is up there right now. It was awesome.
Did you make it yourself?
I did. I didn't slaughter it myself or anything like that, but I did grill it.
All right, what's the secret?
Smoked it.
What's the secret to the great steak?
It just worked out well. I mixed some things together and it worked out. I don't have no secrets. Just buying good meat and using a smoker, I guess.
Smoked rare or medium rare?
Yeah, medium rare is kind of where I like it.
It's a good spot.
Fair enough, yeah. So it seems like we're kind of starting to wrap things up here a little bit. Was there anything that you wanted to say? Any shout outs? Any last final comments? The floor is yours.
No, thank you guys. Thank you for putting this on. I know Stoic was super excited. He asked if he could get things rolling and going on this, and asked me if I would be the first guest, which feels like a lot of pressure to me. But thank you two for doing this. This is exciting, and hopefully some great things will come from this with the community as well. Shout out to all the CCS teams. And thanks for being an awesome community. Thanks for being an awesome family and making this a great place that people want to be involved with. Because it's not just me, it's not just Valk, it really is every single one of you. And that's the awesome part, is that we keep finding these people that are the same. Everyone is in it and wanting to participate and grow and be friendly and work together, and it's been awesome. Shout out to Valk's mom. shout out to especially the CCS1 guys and gals for everything that they've done. I mean, it's crazy looking back and seeing that original HGC Open Cup number 2 CCS team with the same 5 people who play on it today. I think there were 6 on the roster, but five of them are 5 from then are still there today and still on our NGS roster that we just submitted, a week or so ago. So pretty awesome to see that, and so happy to have them and to be able to play on that team and really enjoy that. So shout out to all those guys.
Amazing. I mean, Wits, you've been a fantastic first guest. We couldn't have asked for anyone better. Not only in who you are and what you've built and what you represent, but you've been fantastic. Provided stories. You've given us a context that no one knows. Like, CCS has become this thing that we all love. Like, I'll go out on a limb. I'll speak for everybody. I'm fully confident that we love CCS. And so hearing this backstory and understanding the start of it and like being reminded that like y'all played HGC Open Division is so exciting to hear like where you've come from those 5 that got, O2'd in Open Division to now, looking at 8 teams of Amateur Heroes of the Storm is amazing. And like from all of us, thank you. This is so fun. It's so happy. Like from like, I don't even know, but like CCS, I always say is my home, and it's the home of so many, and it's like, and that's a house that you built, and so thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Well, it's been a fantastic episode. Wits, thank you so much for coming on. Corinne has been my co-host here. We've had an amazing time, heard some great stories, talked about how much we love CCS, and we will be back to do this next week at 11 p.m. with Michaelin, who is a multi-year competitor in both Heroes of the Dorm and TESPA, has been doing NGS since Season 1, as well as Heroes Lounge Division S player. Michaelin, a fantastic addition to the CCS3 roster. We'll be talking to him about his competitive experience in Heroes of the Storm next week at 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on HLS Stoic on Twitch. Corinne, my guy, thank you for being here. Wits as well. Thank you so much for CCS and all of this. To everyone else, it's been an amazing time. Did we have an outro that I was supposed to say, Corinne? I can't remember. We didn't.
Shout out to Valk's mom.
Oh yeah, shout out to Valk's mom. I forgot to put that one in there too. Thanks for helping me out. Thank you all in chat. We will have an Oh, what's up, Goon? Oh, what's up, Goon? All right, to all of you, thank you all for being here. We will talk to you all soon and see you in the Nexus. Bye.
Thanks, guys.